ugly. So, because I didn't think they would actually do this. Because Jerod Mayo, who was let go like maybe an hour after the game, that game ended around 4:20 something yesterday. I think Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter announced it about a quarter after 5. And I was like, damn. Now, it's already the black coach. You fired him after 1 year. That's going to be a PR issue. But then you did it right after the game. What was the point of letting them coach, let alone do a post-game press conference? Because they won. And is this a Lovie Smith situation where a couple years ago, Lovie Smith was the coach of the Houston Texans? He knew he was going to get canned. Everyone knew it. They wanted him to lose the final game so they could secure the number 1 draft pick and get Bryce Young. They won the game. Now, see, ownership is different than coaches and players. Coaches and players are not going to go out there, practice all week, and purposely throw a football game. They're just not instilled to do that. And it's sometimes in the NFL that you have these situations where they wanted the Patriots to lose yesterday. Ironically, they had the same amount of wins as they did with Bill Belichick. This is the worst roster in pro football. Jerod Mayo never had a real opportunity like this. He was set up to fail. Right, set up. And look, Drake May, they have their quarterback. He's good, but he's not Dan Marino. You know what I mean? But they have the worst roster in the league. It's not even close. I mean, what did you expect? And you see some people have already reacted, former players. I think Benjamin Watson said something. He put up a post. I see Chris Canty was losing it on ESPN. Gronk was cooking on Fox. Was like, hey man, Jimmy Johnson went 1-15 his first year. A lot of coaches sucked their first year. Dan Campbell won 3 games. You know what I'm saying? Now, did they improve down the stretch? No, and that's probably why definitively they got rid of him. But to me, as a black guy, it always felt like Jerod Mayo was basically brought in as a DEI hire. You brought him in. He was the first black head coach they had ever had in their franchise history, 30 years of ownership. He was a former player. And it's not like Mayo, I don't think Jerod Mayo ever really wanted to be a head coach. When he retired, he was doing business, and then he did media for a little while. And then they convinced him and asked him to come back, I guess, to keep familiarity around the organization. But it wasn't like most guys who want to be coaches, they dive right into it after they retire or whatever. That wasn't the case. He was a linebackers coach. And it's like, in 2019, this is when Robert Kraft is hanging out with Meek Mill and all these rappers and everything. It just felt kind of weird. Like, okay, you picked this guy as the successor 5 years in advance. You didn't interview nobody. They didn't interview Vrabel. They didn't interview Jim Harbaugh. None of the candidates that they could have gotten or they're still trying to get now. Because now they want to try to bring in Mike Vrabel, another former player, but he has experience. But to me, Jerod Mayo was never given a real chance, not with that roster. What did you want him to do? And he's still, as bad as he was as a leader and all of that, they won the same amount of games that they won with Bill Belichick the year before, 4-13. And you couldn't even wait till this morning to let him go. Black Monday is today. It's the day after the last regular season game. All of the bad coaches get fired. Jacksonville just let go of Doug Peterson. Like, you could at least gave him that respect, but damn, because I think everyone knew, especially after they won the game, because they blew the draft capital. Now they went from having the number 1 draft pick to having the 4th draft pick. And it's almost like the Patriots, they knew they were going to fire him. They had this pre-written, script that they put up that, we really love Jerod, but it was just time to part ways. They knew they were going to can Jerod. And I think he knew also. So, I mean, I don't fault him for going out there. Now, fans, they're pissed off because they don't get that number 1 seed. I mean, that number 1 draft pick. But that's the difference between fans. Fans and ownership, they live and die with the franchise. Players and coaches come and go. And you can't blame a coach or a player for not wanting to care about the future of the infrastructure. They might not be there for next year. Half of those players are probably not going to be there next season. And they're going to gut the whole coaching staff. They should just turn it all over, but it feels like they don't know how to even run a football organization without Belichick and Brady. That's what it looks like. They don't know what they're doing. They have no clue. They are to become the modern day Cleveland Browns. You just going to rotate coaches every couple of years? You need stability. But, Jerod Mayo never had a chance. I mean, outside of having, Drake May, there was nothing. This team was not going to be any good. They can't draft well. They didn't spend any money on free agency. He went into this thinking they were going to spend money. They were going to burn cash. They didn't spend a dime in free agency. brought back the worst roster in pro football to a rookie head coach with no experience. You got what you signed up for. So, for him, I don't know what his future is going to look like. To me, I don't think he even wants to be a head coach. Some people are going to say, like Chris Canty, but you sabotaged his future. You can make that argument. But I don't think Jerod Mayo even really wanted this. I think they gave him that job. They thought that was the right thing to do. And it was clearly the wrong move from day one. You know what I mean? He was put in that position. I never even heard of anything like that. You just pick the guy 5 years in advance and you're not even going to look out for any other candidates. Like that's crazy. But, this is, corporate America. This happens to just be the sports side of it. So, yeah, Jerod Mayo is out. And it looks like they're going to bring in Mike Vrabel. But, yeah, he got the boot. I had never seen a coach get fired directly at the end of the game, though. I mean, maybe it has happened and I just don't remember it. But that's tough, man. Let me know what y'all think. Jerod Mayo fired after 1 year with his former team, the Patriots.